Welcome back, OG Legion, LCK 2018 Spring. And yes, the Afreeca Freecs were the ones out on top, but look at all the damage Prey did. Look at the big bars on the side of Kingzone. They were in control for the entirety, and Afreeca stole it away.
3 Drake buffs, an Elder Dragon, a Baron, but Kingzone weren't able to break the base. That's the problem sometimes with these Scion comps. Kingzone are trying to play the game differently to when they were counter-picking for top lane to win. To be experimenting with other win conditions, or their recent scrim blocks have led them to the comps they're running more recently. But ever since that crazy series against Gnar, it's been a different Kingzone. It's been a weaker Kingzone, and in the end of the day, they made some mistakes around Baron that very quickly closed the game in the favor of Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, Afreeca looking real good, and I wonder who's going to get the MVP, because it's a difficult one. There weren't exactly a lot of highlights until the very end, and it's going to be Kramer.
Gathering
up on the
Storm.
Varus. That's probably the main MVP. Hit 40 minutes and he was an absolute beast. No, all facetiousness aside, still able to lock down some picks and actually did very, very well in the early game to make sure that Afreeca had some options. Notably, this exact moment.
Well, they exploded Gorilla, who probably thought he could get away, but the concussive blows led to a stun, didn't even use his ultimate in that particular fight. Very interesting game, but like you say, Kingzone felt like they were massively ahead for the entirety of it. This is the Baron that was taken down by Afreeca. As you can tell, the highlights aren't really going to show any sick outplays just because of how the game was played. Jackson the backline, Kramer from there being able to turn onto Gorilla, just delayed it to close his target and ended the game in one passage of play. Very interesting one, Atlas, but the end result, you know, very surprising, especially with how things were sitting on paper, but it is Afreeca Freecs in some way stealing one from Kingzone DragonX.
Yeah, a bit of a ball drop coming out from Kingzone, not finding exactly their way to victory in the end. Felt like they had it all set up. There, your man on the screen puts another notch in his Varus book, bringing him up to 7-7. Varus and Ezreal as far as his most played.
That
we are going to have, yeah, it's going to be a substitution. And this time it's going to be Peanut stepping out and Cuz back into that jungle role, harkening back to Longzhu 2017.
Felt like a pretty understated game by Peanut. Didn't make a lot of critical mistakes or critically good plays. The only thing that was really notable was attempting to steal the Baron, maybe keeping his life would have been smarter because they kind of allowed a 5v5 team fight to happen away from their comfort. They strayed away from the 1-3-1 game plan that was reaping them so much fruit and just lost the game in one passage. They're going to bring in Cuz. Cuz did play the first time these two teams faced to a victory. He's only played twice this season, once against Afreeca, once against SKT. Makes his long-awaited return. Let's see how he does and how Kingzone do in Game 2.
See whether it can actually breathe some new life as we enter Champion Select for game number 2. Afreeca Freecs now on our blue side. See what the priority is. Rise already taken away from BDD. So we start things off. Kingzone now on Galio, Zoe, Judy. You have to imagine Zoe's going to be the first cab off the rank.
Their bans on the blue side, Gangplank, Sejuani, and Kalista. See what happens on the red side here for Kingzone, how much they leave open, and Cuz also, just like Peanut, a noted Kha'Zix player, is going to absorb that ban.
Yep, 50% of the whole season he's played Kha'Zix.
Ah, yes, the solid 2-match sample size.
Yep, there's the Atlas special for you right there.
They're all about the stats and shoutcasting tanks fighting.
Oh, you have no idea.
Skarner are going to be banned away, so they don't want to deal with the QSS timings and the headaches that can create.
Yeah, don't want to have to work on a gigantic gold lead to feel like they're actually ahead after all of that money.
Will we see Spirit debut a 13th jungler? He has played 12 unique champions this season.
Yes.
He hasn't played Lulu yet, Atlas.
He's played nothing more than 3 times, which is silly. Zac is going to be taken away, though, so the jungle pool is thinning out.
Sejuani first pick, a very big possibility here.
Galio as well, standing out like a sore thumb.
I would assume that would be banned, but it's a possibility that BDD will just run Azir into it or try to scale against it.
May potentially look at the Corki, something like that. Play a composition that doesn't need to worry about the bouncy castle. One of its components already removed, and no, it's going to be the Varus taken away from Kramer.
Blue side,
respect given.
Blue side leads the dance, but there could be 2 very powerful picks available on red side. Could be Sejuani, Azir, Sejuani, Ezreal. If the Galio is the expected first pick, BD's played one game of Galio this season, and Kuro is one of our legacy Galio players, so a lot of mind games about who locks in what.
Yeah, BDD, of course, was one of the biggest Galio players when we first saw Longzhu playing it last year.
So Sejuani, Ezreal. It's what we expect to be the picks here. Anything else would be a surprise.
Yeah, especially with Kramer's Varus being banned away, grabbing that Ezreal becomes even more important.
That's the theory there. They would have expected it to be a first pick Galio, and then it would be all about maximizing the 2 picks on the red side, not just giving over Ultra Comfort. But the Kalista was something that was accounted for. It would be a level of proactivity that we haven't seen in the Ezreal spam, and I, for one, am excited to see them move away from the Ultra Comfort for Bray. He's played a comical amount of Ezreal games. It was his 12th game on Ezreal.
Just silly, yeah.
The last time out, and he will be jumping on the Kalista this time. Does also deny some bouncy castle from Afreeca, but they'll find some Atlas. There's enough other options.
And I like it how it's mostly Gorilla saying, no, you're going to need to empower me this game. I had an awful time last game. Everyone was focusing me. No. I need the Fate's Call. I need to be able to start some fights where I want to. Him and Prey always such good synergy, but Spirit, our resident Camille god, joining a few others who have shown some prowess recently, but was the first one to really show us what this champion was capable of in the jungle.
And you know who was one of the first people to show us the potential of Camille last year was actually Kiin in the top lane on the Camille. I remember him making Shy look very silly in a game of Ever 8 Winners versus Rocks Tigers, just absolutely taking it away in the 1v1. The Ezreal will be comfort for Kramer. You mentioned he's also played a lot this season. And speaking of comfort, we thought maybe the Azir for scaling, but what about fighting globals with globals? Oh, an old favorites, the Taliyah for BDD.
Yeah, it's such a huge grin on his face as well. BDD looked a little bit shaken after that first match, a little bit forlorn, but after the break, looking like he's back in good spirits. Now, the second round of bans, probably a little bit more focused towards the top side, if you're an Afreeca fan.
Red side King Zone at the start of the season was the most fearsome thing to play because it let them last pick, counter pick for their top lane, but they've kind of abandoned that game plan. You'll notice that Gangplank has actually gone through the first round here. Everyone's surprised by that.
Yeah, true. I didn't even notice.
But
all of this jungle focus.
The Gangplank could still be locked in by King Zone if they don't want a last pick, counter pick for Khan. Looking for support and top lane on the red side.
Yep. For the same thing on the blue side as well,
unless,
theoretically, unless we're going to be flexing, yeah, as you say.
Always a big fan of the flex picks. When I see Afreeca, I think back to last year where TusiN could be playing Camille or Galio, but that's not going to be happening here. Taric ban as well, so a lot of comfort is banned away in terms of the support pool.
So whether it's going to be the Braum or the Tahm Kench, or whether Afreeca are willing to trade.
If it is the standard King Zone playbook, they'll go Kalista, Tahm Kench. We'd love to see Kalista Rakan, for example, but usually it's the self-sufficient bot lane, and Devour and Fate's Call defensively will be what we expect. It's Cuz in the lineup, and a J-Span. It's one less potential headache for Kiin is answered, so Gnar available in terms of top laners.
And one more support still left on the board as well, so like
Gnar, Gangplank, Tahm Kench, Rakan are all the big champions to be considered.
I just don't think King Zone pick up anything other than a support right now. They so love getting Khan on a counter.
Yeah, I would agree with you 3 weeks ago, but the King Zone recently haven't been doing that, so it's actually a bit refreshing to see them last pick available counter pick for Khan. It will just draft the Braum, so Kalista Braum, not quite Kalista Alistair in terms of engage, but still a lot of options there.
Denying the True Shot Barrage as well that TusiN showed us was pretty pivotal. Not a lot of them got through that Unbreakable. Shen, though, is going to be locked in. Could still be a top laner here for Afreeca Freecs.
Usually been support this season. A couple of Shen's top lane we've seen have not been impressive. But I agree. We have to wait to the last moment. You never know with Afreeca Freecs.
I think they need a little bit more damage, though.
Right now it's feeling on the lower ebb, even though it's going to be AP Galio. And they see the Gnar. So blind pick Gnar could just take Gangplank and scale. Seems to be the likely pick. Already saw a nod of the head from Khan, as we saw this hovered.
Relatively vocal, though. Still 10 seconds to go.
I mean, outside chance, something crazy like a Riven into Gnar, but I think the Gangplank to allow them to play side lanes with the Taliyah Weaver's Wall seems pretty likely, and no Yasuo. No huge excitement from the last pick on red side. Just does end up being the Gangplank, a Gangplank counter pick. What is this world coming to?
Yep, I also like it for area control. You pair that with a Weaver's Wall and you've given Prey so much space to work with. I understand how it's supposed to work, Pop Smithy. I just don't think it's quite as exciting as some of the other options that Kiin has demonstrated to us so far this season.
And while the map plays of the Weaver's Wall into the Cannon Barrage are pretty fearsome, you also have to kind of check yourself when you look at the blue side here, because they have now an insane bevy of globals, Engage coming through, Hextech Ultimatum, the Galio Ultimate, the Stand United. They're able to play side lanes actually better than what Kingzone are able to play, but Kingzone does have the potential win condition of Gangplank stacking up the damage, seeing Prey in the comms there, hoping and praying he can get 4 items together to have some backline threat. It's a very different draft to what we saw in Game 1, but still a surprise to see the Gangplank fall all the way to final pick.
Yeah, just crazy, but I like what Afreeca Freecs have put together regardless of it. You know, like, I understand that there is a lot of priority on that Gangplank, but Afreeca just decided we're going to make the composition that we want. And it looks to me like they're going to empower Spirit like you wouldn't believe. Having both of those globals able to be stacked on top of the Camille.
They need him to be a big damage dealer as well, right?
To die.
He needs to do damage. He needs to get the Trinity Force and load in. Otherwise, it's just Ezreal and the Galio burst to get them through this game.
Yeah, different to what we saw out of the Skarner as well. A little bit more of a team player. Now the Camille trying to get in there and get bullying. We'll see whether it works as we hop onto Summoner's Rift. Afreeca fans, despite the fact that they weren't on social media for the fan vote, still pretty loud voices here in this packed Seoul East Stadium for what could be our final game of the evening. See them in the audience right now. I wasn't lying to you guys. Certainly are a lot of Afreeca fans.
I mean, both these teams are very, very popular. Longzhu into Kingzone with all their stars and new stars alike. And Afreeca Freecs, a lot of names that the fans know from great seasons gone past. Insane that we might be talking about Kingzone going down 2-0 in a week. You look down to Longzhu and their match history, and there's actually only ever been one time since the start of summer season that Longzhu, now Kingzone, actually lost 2 matches in a row. It hasn't happened before then, so only one single time. That was against Gnar and SK Telecom T1 right at the end of the second round robin last year. Expected greatness on the Rift multiple times and largely been rewarded with it, have the Kingzone fans. But a strong draft from Afreeca, kind of a wayward end to Game 1, the sort of undisciplined end that we very rarely see from Kingzone, will start to make their fans wonder.
Yeah. Kingzone now as well, I mean, if we look over their side, they do have the coveted Gangplank like you're talking about, BDD Ultra Comfort on the Taliyah. It feels pretty good at the moment, and we haven't spoken a lot about Prey's Kalista, but he has always been pretty damn impressive on the bouncy lady.
One thing to mention is that the expected game plan of the Weaver's Wall behind an objective and then Sejuani trying to threaten and zone them away so they can take turrets is hit a little bit by the fact that it is a Kalista for AD carry. So the siege power of Kingzone, while not awful, is not as strong as a Caitlyn or a 600 range AD carry.
Yeah.
So still can be a very useful game plan. They can still look for turret dives with Sejuani, and the Fate's Call is, Kuz is level 3, so Spirit will probably have to hightail it away.
Yeah, despite the fact that there is a slight health advantage, as Hookshot is going to come in. Spirit actually wanting to tango right now, gets the electrocute proc, and Kuz just going to move away worse for wear as Seismic Shove very close.
Not often that you see a level 2 jungler, more than half health the enemy jungler.
Yeah. Actually doing a whole bunch of work there with Spirit. Level behind. Hopefully for Afreeca fans, a sign of things to come.
Good news for Afreeca fans. TusiN's not done playmaking. He still will go unsealed spellbook. I was talking to Gorilla a bit about support choices on patch 8.2, and he used TusiN as an example of a support that will, when in doubt, take the spellbook and look for the playmaking rather than doubling down on a laning phase summon a spell like the Guardian that Gorilla has picked up.
I actually love it on Shen as well. Just give him the teleport, give him the ability to move around the map so effectively.
Take Ignite for lane control, change it for an exhaust later.
Yep, plenty of options. Okay. BDD wanting to shove things forward over and over again, but the new iteration of the Galio certainly has no problems shoving waves.
It will be second to the shove early before there's a bit of AP completed because it's minion dematerializer and it's Taliyah, who is
true.
One of the strongest shovers, so still going to be early wave control advantage to BDD. We're kind of looking for a big performance. Kind of feels a bit harsh as we see Cuz go for a little bit of damage. It does feel a bit, you know, what have you done for me lately? Given that BDD's had a great season, but the Orianna misfires
oh, that was not a good day.
Sort of thing that's going to definitely stick in the mind from BDD. And
yeah, it was a lot of hula hoops that game.
And then, you know, you can only be quite so flashy on Rise. We didn't see any amazing use of the Realm Warp, so looking for BDD to once again cement his very lofty reputation as one of the best mids in Korea.
6 CS ahead at the moment. Just going to dematerialize some minions and head back to base. See whether Lost Chapter is complete, and it is. Too much to worry about there as the teleport from Kuro gets him back to the lane. Has a couple of rings and a rock, so not exactly the high impact buy that he was looking for. As TusiN goes in, the Shadow Dash. Kramer actually looking to try and follow up. His Spirit's going to come down.
They really want this. They really want this.
In goes Kuro. Is he going to be able to slow them down in time? That's a good double slow coming in from Spirit. And they get the flash that they were looking for. You see everyone moving away as soon as those summoner spells go down.
You know me, Atlas. I love me some value. And for the cost of his W, the Galio was able to get 2 flashes out of Kingzone DragonX. That feels really good. If you're Kuro, you can roam back down. Only costs you your teleport. And the hero's entrance still available.
Well, Seismic Shove means that Spirit takes so much damage. BDD just looking for the solo, but no, not quite. Just needed one more pebble, and Spirit would have died, but did get the flash. BDD not to be trifled with on this Taliyah.
Gets another flash out, so another summoner delayed use there. Nice from BDD. Kind of out of nowhere able to turn around and create a bit of pressure out of all, after all bot lane pressure's kind of been abandoned. Now you have to deal with 2 flashes both down. They didn't go for the Tom Kench when it came to the degree of safety here. So with the Braum, definitely there's a bit more windows of counterplay. The hero's entrance bot lane, if the first Shadow Dash hits, then the Galio ult should register. Kyle's coming from behind.
Yeah, is going to be able to catch the Justice Punch as well. Seismic Shove once again making its mark, but the Cannon Barrage, they're looking for this dive, but Kuz not tanky enough yet, and Kuro's going to survive. They get the ultimate out from the Gangplank as well. He's not going to have as great a time, already down 15 CS on the top side.
Yeah, only level 5 was Kuz as well, so no ult there. He could have started with the ult. Potentially could have closed it down. But Gangplank ult is wasted. That's actually very relevant for the 1v1 as well, because very often we just see an enemy jungler path top, try to zone the Gangplank away, and he won't have his ult to try to reset the wave.
Oh, another shove. Thankfully the minion wave was there for Kuro. Khan misses the timing. The boomerang as well isn't going to find the mark, so Khan feeling okay. This Gangplank as he just tries to farm up. Kiin still in a brilliant position as far as the farm is concerned.
He's still got all his things. Still got
it's been annoying, right?
Still got the stopwatch. Still has flash, so still very, very safe despite his ult being down. A lot of pressure relieved here. They're looking for a counter gank, but interestingly, there's no turret dive being set up. I guess Kuro was just saying he needed to stay for 1 or 2 more waves, so that's why we saw Shen invest his time. He's looking for a counter gank under the turret.
You can see Kuro got very aggressively denied that cannon creep. BDD chose to deny him by just putting his face underneath the turret. Nicely done. 10 CS the lead now for the Taliyah.
Kingzone, predictably, with how they've played, may not be Rise, but still the 1-3-1. When Gangplank gets his items, going to be a source of strength. And turret taking, like we mentioned, with the Weaver's Wall. We were very impressed with Grace on Taliyah, but a lot of other Taliyah games have left us a little bit underwhelmed, Atlas. The pick hasn't been as consequential as we felt when everyone was spamming it, as patch 8.2 opened on the server. But you're always reminded when those non-interactive Weaver's Walls come down and turrets go down for free, the power from ahead that Taliyah is able to provide.
Also, spending some time down here on the bottom side, we have to illustrate that there is a 10 CS lead for Prey and Gorilla just organically. Something that we've praised this bottom lane for often, but wasn't the case the last game.
Hard to do when both your flashes are down as well, so a lot of that was early work. Haven't been enough breathing room for Kuro to look for an ult to benefit from a Shadow Dash, and Kingzone still control the bot side, so they're going to try and start the Infernal.
Yeah, Kaz actually just going to pull it out of the pit and continue, so looking to hold on to the Permafrost just for the burst damage, just to avoid a steal, and Prey, he's going to come in, offer his Ren to that battle. So Spirit not going to go for any sort of contest, even though he probably would have been able to, given the smite from Kaz not being exactly on point.
Back away and getting a lead bot side when there's a double flash disadvantage on the side of Kingzone's. Unlikely, so certainly a bonus. Same thing about in game 1 for Afreeca Freecs on the red side, where Kingzone had the 3 winning lanes and a Drake was still taken. So, still, bit of good news here for the side of Kingzone DragonX. They back away, still haven't seen the first use of the Weaver's Wall. Boots 2 finished for BDD. It is Sorcerer's Shoes, which is not for doing damage on Galio, more for sidestepping and when he actually impacts the side lane.
Yeah, an exploding Spirit. If he goes anywhere near him, you can see he's gone for the Warrior Enchant, so not going to be very tanky at all.
Oh, he needs to do damage, so
oh yeah,
definitely the right purchase there.
But not the right one if you want to stay alive face-checking BDD. Absolutely not. Seismic Shove lands. You have to feel that after that Morellonomicon's done, it is going to be a dead Camille. So Spirit needs to be a bit careful. They need to make sure that they keep their vision up as well as Afreeca. Bottom side, a lot of control in that vision. Top side as well. Kiin with his cheeky little control ward, of course, commanding this lane for the beginning.
And we're kind of waiting for the playmaking to start for Afreeca, because if you evaluate the comps as the game goes on, I think whatever happens with Spirit, there's still going to be damage concerns. Usually with the Galio comps, you're looking at mid-game, 2-item Galio to be able to win team fights. And at that point, Kingzone do have Kalista, who has obviously a very good 2-item spike. BDD early on the Taliyah. It feels like Kingzone will be competitive in the portion of the game where Afreeca is strongest in a true 5v5. However, we cannot forget, stand united, hero's entrance, teleport on the Gnar. It's all about outnumbered for Afreeca. Here we go.
Well, speaking of outnumbered, Spirit, he's going to have to get himself the hell out of dodge, and that means Kingzone 3 versus 2 potentially for BDD. So far in with that Weaver's Wall. Does get the shield and is going to stay alive, and the Glacial Fissure is good out of Gorilla. Just unable to get any kills off the back of it. Man, a lot of hyphiness from everyone from Afreeca and Kingzone.
But longer cooldowns used by Afreeca Freecs, and they don't gain anything from them. The first round of ultimates doesn't grant them a kill. 2 globals used. Defensively, it's fantastic for the side of Kingzone. And now this turning on to Kramer.
Yeah,
sheer turret diving in.
Prey was thinking about just going back and farming a minion wave as Gorilla was right next to that turret. Probably trying to get a demolish proc, you know. We've seen that bounce back against people before. Sorry, no, we didn't mean to say that.
It was key as well. 2 of them getting greedy for the demolish proc. A level 2 demolish proc, which
not exactly the best.
No. And Khan, happy that it's been non-interactive laning. Down 30 CS, but is Gangplank.
So probably is still up in gold. Is Kiin not going to go for the actual Gnar. Just going to look for a wallop and not find it. No. Very big is Mega Gnar, isn't he?
He certainly is. On this skin that he's running.
Super Galaxy.
Yeah, I was thinking Super Mega, then I was like, that's not the right
Super Mega Galaxy.
I had the Super
Big Gnar. Imagine if Gnar was a top laner. That would be so much better.
He was playing a lot of jungle and solo queue. Seemed depressed about all the Alistar bans. I'm going to roam anyway.
Yeah. Plays Alistar jungle. That would be
I mean, he's probably feeling pretty good today. Of course, coming off that victory over Kingzone 2 days ago. We'll see him in action tomorrow.
Probably wants Kingzone to do a little bit better here, just so it makes BBQ look as good as possible. Beggars can't be choosers. Afreeca has certainly been looking good.
Has been already thrift shopped by Khan, so we know how the lane goes from here.
Yep. Continues being annoying. And actually, the more barrels he lands, the more he's going to be able to win this lane back, especially with that Trinity Force picked up.
Wants to hit level 11. Waiting for that Weaver's Wall side lane play. Right now, turret HP very healthy, which for a Shen lane, Shen support, one of the lowest presence supports we have in the league. Perhaps, I would say, the lowest presence support we've had.
Yep.
If you can get through laning phase, anything resembling even from a champ who kind of has an all-in and then just walks away, then you're feeling pretty good.
TusiN also finishing off his Revenant already, so going to be busting those wards out pretty dang soon. Maybe just shoving these minions back.
Worry for Afreeca is if we see another round of Stand United and Heroes Entrance be stuffed out, lead to nothing, then they'll be losing a lot of their strongest point in the game, and Gangplank just keeps going, as we well know.
Yeah, that was very cute, by the way, from Kuro, who just steals away the big raptor. Almost as if it was leashed to him by Cuz.
Always gets this point in the lane where the Gnar player has most of a Black Cleaver and the Gangplank player has a Trinity Force, and that's when Gangplank does take lane control back for at least a brief moment.
Yep. But still getting shoved into is Khan, so not exactly controlling everything up there, despite the fact that he's still feeling okay.
Everyone's coming bot lane.
Yep, Spirit is going to turn up. Interesting to be ganking the Stand United when, you know, he was up towards the top side. Diving Khan feels like it's a definite possibility.
Against the stopwatch, the flash, the ultimate,
yeah,
very low percentage.
Just like the fact that you can ult over there as TusiN, get underneath that turret. But yeah, I do understand what you mean. It's a toughie. Does have his flash available as well.
Trinity Force. Been the norm for Ezreal today. Yeah. Iceborne Gauntlet days for at least today are behind us. They need the damage, so only Warrior Enchant, Trinity Force, and Black Cleaver for offensive items completed on the side of Afreeca Freecs.
I wonder whether that's just a sign of the meta speeding up just a little bit, wanting that one item power spike instead of waiting for the two with the Muramana and the Iceborne Gauntlet for a little bit more control. That's
a pretty good read on it. You know, with stopwatches gone, the meta has gotten a bit faster. We still had some comically long games, but feels like the defensive option hasn't always been the best one, so a bit more oomph has been incentivized by the Ezreal players.
Yeah, Spirit almost getting killed by Shelly, who's pretty angry at him at the moment. I don't know what she did, but... or what he did. A little bit frustrated because it's going to be starting off this Cloud Drake, and that's what they're going to take as a consolation prize. I mean, the Bushfire arrangement.
Trading objectives against a Galio Shen comp is still happy times, so been able to pick up 2 Drakes of the game, kind of against expectation, then ult the minion wave to at least delay this turret take.
Gets all of them as well. That was pretty good timing as Kiin is trying to throw boomerangs, but he's gone down relatively low, and Khan probably will be A-OK staying into this lane and not worrying about a dive.
First turret blood expected to go the way of Kingzone, despite there being a Galio. This is something I can't really support. Taliyah also first roaming bot side.
Yeah, Kuro is just nowhere to be found as well. Not in range for that heroic entrance.
It's the test.
Yeah, there's the flash. The taunt actually goes down onto Gorilla, but Unbreakable is going to be there.
Galio's still not in range.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, True Shot Barrage flying forward because the Unbreakable's on cooldown, but that's the tower going down, and First Blood going over to Kingzone.
That was really bizarre. Galio just didn't seem to be in range the moment the taunt flash came in. Very aggressive. Seemed like they were happy with whoever they hit just to have it be a conduit for the hero's entrance, but didn't have to invest anything else. Did Kingzone. They get the turret, they get the kill. Happy times for them.
Yeah, and Afreeca unable to grab this turret earlier on. See Khan now with the Trinity Force, so much wave clear. It's getting harder and harder for Kiin to get this shove actually working effectively.
It's so weird that we've seen so many ebbs and flows with the Galio. Galio came on the scene, it was working well, and then we had the couple of weeks where in their losing streak, SKT first picking Galio, getting no value out of it, first pick blue side Galio, not working, and we thought, okay, teams have got better at disengaging, and then we doubled down the other way, and Galio became again the cornerstone of the meta. So it has gone in peaks and troughs, but my impression is when you see 1, 2, 3 opportunities to use that ultimate, either go begging or be turned around, Galio's value as a game goes to the ultra late game does start to come into question.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that, it started off with Kongdu Monster looking phenomenal with Galio, creating these bouncy castle compositions that we really started to know them for when they were playing some pretty impressive League of Legends at the beginning of the season. Like you say, it's going through a lot of iterations. Afreeca Freecs on the back foot now, though. 2,000 gold behind approximately, actually 3. Thanks for Afreeca looking a little bit more rough, but if they can actually make these plays, if they can get the pile in onto the priority targets, that's when things start to feel a little bit better.
Kuro has Sorcerer's Shoes. That's a different one on the Galio.
Yeah, it's a lot of magic penetration, actually. If he's against anyone with no magic resist, which is B2D right now, going to be doing a fair bit of work.
You don't see it against the likes of Braum and Sejuani, but I guess if he's the one eating the CC, then he's happy relatively.
It's interesting because Galio he's got better scaling now with AP, but it's not base damages anymore.
AP will come next. I guess Zhonya's probably going to be the completion. When you see Fiendish Codex, it's probably going to be the read. But there's very little control for Kingzone around their blue side. Seeing both teams split the map. Camille jungling around the Gnar.
Interesting, we've got the Rift Herald actually sitting on Kuro.
It's almost run out, so they need to work out where they're putting that very soon.
It's okay. Kaz may have found TusiN, but no. Last cone going to be there. It's going to be fine. Had the dodge field, but Kaz now looking for Kramer. True Shot Barrage flies over the top, but I think that Kramer might be in the wrong spot. Arctic Assault comes in, but TusiN has actually come down at the right time. Cannon Barrage in, but BDD stops the escape from coming in, and they'll just take a Shen, because he's there. Now going to be able to lock that one down. In the meantime, Kiin on the bottom side grabs the first turret for Afreeca.
The Rift Herald hasn't actually charged yet. It just walked bot lane and summoned it to Kuro. Interesting stuff. Prey's going to tank this up and take the turret. I love how long Kaz waited to use the ultimate in that scenario. Knew there would be a guaranteed kill when it gave enough arm time for the seismic shove, and it's going to be 2 turrets for Afreeca Freecs.
That's a value Rift Herald, actually. If they are, in the end, able to grab this, goes down extremely low, 130 health. Thank you very much.
We saw how long a 52 health turret lived, so...
Yeah, exactly. 8 minutes, I think.
Apologies, OGN Legion. We pronounced the death of the inner turret too soon.
We like having a very low health turret on the map, though. Gives us something to talk about at all times. In this game, we're spoiled because the top lane turret is also hanging by a thread. Kramer wanting some of that local gold. Please and thank you.
But you look at the item timings between the two.
The Observer knows exactly what's up.
He's having some fun. He's listening to us. Thank you, Observer.
Yeah, there we go.
2 item spikes starting to come together for Kingzone. 2 items on Prey already. It feels like their items are outpacing the comp we expect to skirmish and teamfight better and outnumber better on the side of Afreeca. And obviously if Kingzone are caught 4v5, that won't be as consequential. But if it's a true 5v5, feels like Kingzone may have the tonic for what should be a very dominant early mid-game composition for Afreeca.
Also dominant as far as the items picked up as well. We've got the 2-item spike that every Kalista player dreams of. We've got the Leandri's Torment now done for BDD for his 2-item spike with a whole lot of magic penetration.
And the only good news story is that Kiin has the 2 items to make Gangplank accountable. That doesn't really impact a team fight in the way that those from Kingzone have.
Yeah, and Derek's Gauge just done for Khan as well. So
Seismic Shove.
A little bit better.
Seismic Shove represents death for 4 out of the 5 members of Afreeca Freecs.
If your name isn't Galio, you feel pretty awful. Maybe even Gnar. Okay, stun. Kuro's just taking 0 damage. Right, out of turret in the mid lane. Kingzone really playing proactively. It's what we saw in game number 1. Now, will Kingzone be able to carry this level of control?
It's really nice timing, though, Atlas, because Ezreal was the one answering the minions in top side. So, from there, Kingzone played aggressively in the mid, turn that into, taxi it into the Infernal, get that for free as well. And because Ezreal's the one who's accountable, I guess trying to catch up and pick up levels and play the Ruin King for the first true team fight of the game, Kingzone have now put together 2 Infernal Drakes, again, against a Galio comp that should outnumber in the early game. The early game's over, and all they can really seem to be gaining here, Afreeca, is levels and gold onto the Ezreal.
It's getting to be more and more frightening to be even in this game for Afreeca Freecs. As we move past the 23-minute mark, the Baron becomes more and more of an option. You can see Afreeca, massive amounts of vision around that Baron area. They are so scared of Kingzone taking an early Baron. Want to try and get themselves in there, because if they can find Kingzone in a Baron pit before any of these Warmogs are completed that Kaz is about to put into that inventory, it's when Afreeca Freecs will be able to use the Stand United, the Heroic Entrance, and Spirit to lock down a single target.
I just get worried when you use turns of phrase like you did. You say the word, you know, Afreeca are scared. They're the team with the Galio. They're the team that should outnumber. They have so many globals.
They shouldn't be scared,
They should be the ones that force Kingzone into bad moves, because is there going to be 3 people showing up, closing the distance on me in half a second? But that's not the way. They are actually very second to the pace of the game. The pace of the game is being set against the globals, which is almost unthinkable for how the draft went. And It's a really big problem for Afreeca to navigate through. And right now, I just don't think they have the items to be able to do it. Sorcerer's Shoes, Morel, and Omicron, it's not going to be enough. Right now, the map's looking pretty thin for the side of Afreeca. The vision is being pushed up by Kingzone. If you make the globals accountable, if you know exactly where the Galio is on the map and play to the other side or play to outnumber, only good news stories for Kingzone.
And this is showing that fear as well as...
Hey!
Oh, okay, never mind. That was just a leash for Kramer, obviously. I was going to say, you know, Kramer didn't walk up and take that easy outer turret on the top side of the map. We didn't have the blue buff contested apart from that one steal attempt that Kramer was luckily successful for. Kiin's finally going to be able to get something against what feels like the run of play, as Khan's doubloons are certainly there, but Sterix is going to force a flash there as well. Kiin keeping him slowed with that frozen mallet.
Yeah, Kiin killing Khan in that scene is the one way Afreeca could get control of the map, because then they could go straight to Baron and be able to outnumber when they also had the Gnar pushing on the top side. So had to defensively flash. Finally some value out of the 2 items completed for the Gnar. See Spirit fly in.
Yeah, he's going to launch his way in as there's the standard entrance from the support and mid laner. Is it going to be enough though, as Kingzone is still so strong and BDD is going to be able to grab that kill. They're the ones picking them up as Gorilla finally falls, but Prey's got his stopwatch. He's going to go golden. Kuro's got so many spears in him, but is going to survive. The Pierce catches Kramer from over the wall. I'm used to seeing Ezreals and seeing Prey, but now a Baron buff should be going over to Kingzone. So much secure, and they should be able to tank it with Khan.
Afreeca thought finally at 25 minutes they had their moment to go in with the Galio ultimate. They pursue in when there's no way for Prey to be there. They don't pick up the kill because they had the stopwatch. Baron's low, but it's not dead yet.
Wow. Oh, teleport is going to come in. There's the double taunt as they're just going to get bopped. Khan trying to get himself out. Does burst his barrel. That's going to be the double kill for Kuro as Afreeca at least get a consolation prize at the end.
They don't actually get a lot of Baron buffs here. I know Cuz has it. Not sure if Gorilla had respawned in time. BDD hadn't. We're going to see the replay. They go for this because Kalista is in the top side and Gangplank is in the base. But stopwatch is still a thing situationally on patch 8.3. BDD lives long enough to do damage and also allow Prey to join. And that's when the non-snowballed members of Kingzone, so of Afreeca, are held accountable by all the free farming Kingzone was able to do before the globals could ever be used. This should have happened 15 minutes ago. It only happens now. Good news story for Afreeca. There isn't multiple Barons to deal with, but bad news is the gold lead is still there for Kingzone.
Well, Weaver's Wall is going to be stopped relatively short. There's the flash from TusiN. I don't know whether that was exactly what he wanted to do, as the taunt's going to fly forward, but the Shen's just going to give over his life for free, and that means that Galio falls down as well. Oh dear, that was a little bit of an overreach there by the Afreeca Freecs, and not the first time that TusiN's done that this game.
Yeah, the taunt flashes have really been letting him down. They had no vision to know where the enemy was, and you can't be surprised when everyone's respawning, they're conga lining down mid lane to stop you from taking a turret. So very, very strange decision made there. Almost feels like an unforced error from the support rather than anything forced by Kingzone. Another person goes down. We reset from there. Kingzone still able to play the side lanes. Didn't get the confirmation on whether Gorilla has a Baron buff, but we know that Sejuani has it. So Kingzone really only get the gold, and yeah, it's only a single Baron buff to the side of Kingzone DragonX.
Should still net them this outer turret in the mid lane, opening the map even further. Control wards being removed and added further towards Afreeca's base. Khan's only getting more and more dangerous. Ghostblade looking like it could be the next one to come in. Unless he goes for a Duskblade, that would be exciting. Join the vision clear. True Shot Barrage sails casually past Prey.
Prey going for the I want to end the game soon build, picking up Guardian Angel. This will allow him to take a bit of burst damage, and then theoretically, if everything's used on him, BDD will be on another quadrant, powering through the other enemies.
So it means that stopwatch doesn't need to be rebought or anything like that. Can just use the broken component to finish that one off.
We know that Camille's Feast of Famine only just finished Trinity Force, no boots too, so it's one of those Famine games. Shouldn't have been. They had the comp for Camille to dive in aggressively. They didn't actually pull the trigger. And now we're dealing with an underfed frontline diver that really is only a Hero's Entrance opener. I guess it means that TusiN doesn't have to do it, so I guess that's good news, but...
He's been doing it anyway, though.
Yeah, he's trying.
Been working.
He's trying. They're not actually following up with ults most of the time. Like, wait, no, that was too far. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
I guess
shouldn't you be at the back too? Like, shouldn't you?
The only way it makes sense is if he's told initiate at all costs, and then sorry.
Yeah.
But the sorries can't really happen multiple times against a comp like Kingzone have drafted. For a pick, but Kuz is pretty tanky.
Yep, taunt does land, but Kuro still going to take so much damage. Exactly right. I even feel like BDD was doing a lot of that work against this magic damage tank, and the Cloud Drake's just going to be gifted over. It's like the party bag at the end of the party.
I'm just really not a fan of a lot of the builds and game plan here from Afreeca. If you're going to draft the Galio comp, I think you go Rod of Ages. I think you go offensive earlier, Proto Belt, for example, get Mercs. And then you've got a Shen, and you've got other defensive options, but they went kind of all over the place with this Sorcerer's Shoes and Abyssal Mask build. And I can understand where it's from, but they haven't really played to their items or their comp, and now it feels like Kingzone are in full control of the game.
Yep, the classic Weaver's Wall, just to make sure that the minions are not going to get cleared, because Afreeca can't move up towards the wave. Both mid lane turrets are going to get taken down. Still a couple of inners remain, as we are going to watch Kuro get obliterated. Yeah,
he didn't go for the Zonias. He went for Morellonomicon, so he takes full damage from physical damage. He already used his W, so doesn't even impersonate a tank. Tried to ult a wave, got interrupted by the Arctic Assault and died. So, unfortunately, that means that Kuro will now reset. Kramer has the Blade of the Ruin King and delayed his build. We're just getting an Executioner's calling, but I think his days of being a true threat are over. Looks like the good times are ready to roll for Kingzone. Drake spawn in before. There is a big Elder Dragon. It's going to be a 5 buff Elder Dragon when it does spawn, if it spawns.
Real scary, yeah. And triple Cloud means that Kingzone are going to be everywhere on this map as well. Okay, Hookshot's going to not land as the Arctic Assault is going to get Kuz out to safety.
Push up side lanes, put down a Weaver's Wall, try to take an objective. That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Probably the first time you do that, you disengage a Galio ult, and then you just get in the face of the enemy, try to make it work the second time. Now, Kingzone were in a similar spot in game 1. Very different comp, different struggles that time around, but should note that they've been here before and weren't able to close out the game.
At least this time they were able to lock down a Baron buff. It's a different situation here.
They had one last time. It wasn't enough.
Hey, that's true. That's true.
Breaking the base on the first Baron is always the gold standard, but it was only a Baron onto Kuz. It was largely a Baron for the ability to get the gold rather than necessarily impact their position on the map so much. Wouldn't have been a huge Baron buff power play.
We've got a Wizard Gargoyle here. It's a Rabbidan's Death Cap completed for Kuro.
We're going to see more Death Caps on patch 8.4, but again, just a bit of a muddied item build here. He needs the AP, so I can understand why he's gone for it, but Locket's already complete on the Gorilla. Double Locket even, as Kuz has one as well, so Galio really is only about one rotation of burst, and it's already been answered in items.
Yeah, he's desperate for a Void Staff right now as well. I feel like that would have been probably more damage potential. But I appreciate it. If you had at least clear minions very, very fast. As long as the Baron buff doesn't go over to Kingzone yet again, and that's going to be up in 30 seconds. You can see Kingzone getting complete control over the vision in the area. At least there's some control wards in Afreeca's own jungle leading up towards the pit, but are going to have to leave it on faith that Kingzone haven't started as soon as it spawns.
Very different build coming through from Kiin. Actually went double lethality on Gangplank. We never see this anymore.
Got both of them. I was asking the question, Dustblade or Ghostblade, but it's both.
Yeah, double lethality. Usually we see just the Yomus for movement speed into things like the Essence Reaver, the Phantom Dancer, and the Infinity Edge, but this build going to be low on the crit front. At least for the early game. Now, of course, you get so much money in this game, you can just sell it later and pretend you always had those items.
Yeah.
But the Dustblade does allow him to check for wards in the side lane. Very interesting choice. Very low armor on the side of Afreeca, so I guess that's another reason why it can be a good thing. Already saw shredding through of the Galio last time around.
Well, no Unbreakable to block that True Shot Barrage, so Kramer given full information that the Baron has not been started. They have actually got a cheeky blue ward on there as well. Okay, Ghostblade from Kiin just to run back towards the bottom lane.
Weaver's Wall.
Yeah, they're looking for TusiN one more time. Okay, no, they're not. BDD in complete trouble. Just didn't know that there was a gargoyle there, and Kuro with his newly formed Witch's Hat Just going to take down the Taliyah in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, caught him in transit, he just died. Now they're going to turn on to Baron.
Punched him in the head.
Interrupted him off the wall, was off screen, but we saw the tail end of it. Afreeca must stop Baron here. BDD's dead.
Yeah, Kuro still has the hero's entrance to get himself on top of Kiin if he wants to. And can't. He's going to make his way over. Cannon Barrage is there to try and get some sort of steal. Okay, gets the Gnar in Spirit, locks down the Baron. Cannon Barrage just going to be doing a little bit of damage, gets the flash out of Kiin, but he's got the crush to get over the wall. Shadow Dash there as well. And Afreeca Freecs once again turn around the flow of play and pick themselves up a Baron.
But it was delivered on a platter. In this game, you can't really talk about comp for rushing decisions by Kingzone. They dodge through with no vision, and Kuro just assassinates him in one rotation.
Selects him, grabs him off the wall.
And the best news story was killing the enemy's support. They weren't even going to be able to get a guaranteed pick. TusiN at the time had Flash and probably Cleanse both available. Really bad decision-making there by BDD. It has to have been a solid, even if it was a team call, they follow on it, and just as comically as TusiN went down a couple of times in the early game, this time it's at 34 minutes, and guess what? The penalty's much larger. It's a free Baron to the side of Afreeca.
And now they've got all of this standing gold as well. They've got this very, very low health turret on the top side of the map. They can push that one through if they want to. You can see everyone else moving towards the mid lane.
I can't really mince my words, Atlas. This is a pretty hard game to lose for.
Well,
how
I mean,
far
what
ahead
was
Kingzone
game one as well, right?
No, but this time the comp is even there. The four Drakes are there. They have everything going for them in this particular game. This was no outplay by Afreeca. It was legitimately a huge mistake by BDD. Just throwing it over. We don't often have pure throws in the LCK, but if this ends up being the pivotal moment in the game, it really was a very poor decision by BDD.
Well, if Afreeca are actually going to come back and win this one, which they certainly haven't just yet, still a 6,000 gold lead for Kingzone, you will be looking at that moment for the time where things went wrong. You have to put yourself in the mind of BDD. He had no idea where Kuro was and did see a Shen that he could cut off with the Weaver's Wall.
But why don't we
Felt like a good idea, but
why don't we just rewind what you said? He didn't know where the Galio was. If Galio's on the same side of the map, even the chance of guaranteeing the kill is lower because of the hero's entrance coming in for the damage reduction. If you know Galio cannot respond, there's some validity to it. But there were too many holes in the plan, and it feels like Kingzone is skipping steps. They're so far ahead, they feel like they've already done all the hard work. They were way ahead in game one. In this game, they're even more ahead than the gold really symbolizes because of just the scaling of the Gangplank. But now suddenly, one more mistake and the game could just end to the favor of a 2-0 for Afreeca Freecs.
Well, looking on the other side of the coin, Kingzone are finishing off a whole bunch of items here. There's Kiin trying to do battle with Khan, but the flash actually comes in. Cannon Barrage right on top. That's the solo kill, but Khan may have sacrificed himself for it. Spirit ultimatum and then flashes out. Kuro in a whole host of trouble. He's going to get isolated and most likely destroyed. That's a see your death moment as he goes golden and gets taken down. Kingzone get 2 picks, started off by Khan just being a beast.
Yeah, Khan is on the Gangplank. He is free farm, so able to answer one split pusher, and then Kuro teleported in to his doom. See if normalcy can return. We'll see if that can end the Baron buff power play from Kingzone. Khan does the heavy lifting. One of his teammates letting them down a little bit. Khan back on the board. 6 items. Cheaper build than most Gangplank builds, but he can, of course, augment it later with some swaps. Zone push through. It is 5v3.
The Infinity Edge later, but this inner turret not long for the world as Kingzone will just wipe it off the ground. Elder Dragon will be up relatively soon, and remember, so many dragons for Kingzone.
I mean, Kingzone
one picked up for Afreeca.
Are still in an amazing spot in this game. They have a huge compositional advantage. They have a split pusher who now is strong enough to 1v1 the Gnar, whose whole assignment was taken down. You'll notice that Gnar is building for the 1v1. With probably a Bloodthirster to go along with a Phantom Dancer.
Or a Guardian Angel if he wants to pick that one up.
Yep, could be a Guardian Angel as well, but has built for the 1v1 rather than going for Randuins and the pure teamfight build.
Yeah, I would love the Bloodthirster, by the way. That sounds way better. Much more exciting. It's Kiin. He attacks pretty dang fast.
I think it's the right build if you're wondering at home. I think being able to actually take the Gangplank in a 1v1 is so important. Otherwise, you have even less options as the Afreeca Freecs. If you're losing in the side lane and all you can do is look for a hero's entrance play on an enemy team with flashes up, you kind of just lose the game around such a narrow win condition, so while I'm a fan of it, it has been delayed for now. Spirit will back away. Feels like the next big play, the next time 2 people are dead on either side, it should be close to lights out for one of the teams.
Kramer has been pretty good at being out of vision when these true shot barrages fly through. Gorilla hasn't been blocking as many as TusiN was in game number 1. Kramer's slowly but surely getting himself to 6 items as well. That Mercurial Scimitar, all he needs to augment that. And Mortal Reminder being complete means that his damage potential is pretty dang up there. Prey doesn't actually have the armor penetration. Probably because there's just straight up no tanks that have any armor.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. He's going more Malmortius just to try to ignore the first round of burst from the Galio. That's the, well, I'm going to get hit by the hero's entrance, but hop around and lifesteal through it choice.
Yep.
Has a lot of overshields to synergize with magic resist as well.
Gorilla is going to be in complete vision as this Brambleback will be taken down by Kramer. Nice lockdown there with the Q. So a few nice things going the way of Afreeca Freecs. 4 turrets to 5, but 5 kills to 11. And Kingzone having 4 of these dragons, 2 of which being the coveted Infernal Drakes.
Best case scenario for Afreeca is they can find a way to force a trade for the 2 objectives spawning around the same time. Baron and Elder within 20 seconds of each other in just over a minute's time. Yeah, shouldn't be the way though. I think Kingzone should diagnose which side Afreeca has been defending and just try to take the other objective for free.
See whether Kuro's anywhere near the Void Staff, which will mean a lot of this damage out of the Galio will be registering.
No guarantee it is a Void Staff. There is an outside chance he tries to build a tank item last.
Good point.
But
Void Staff,
I understand the argument for it.
Is complete, so picks that one up instead. Could of course be Leandri's if he wants to just cut through health tanks like Kaz, who doesn't have a lot of resistances just yet.
Usually pretty standard. Rod of Ages Leandri's for having a bit of health, but also plenty of threat, whereas this time went a different side of the build, and the death cap early was the big change in the build from Kuro.
I think either of the options are okay. Leandri's or Void Staff. Both of them getting through the stats that have been stacked by Kingzone by a lot of the players. Is Spirit looking for Khan. Doesn't get the stun out of the hookshot though.
This game is tense, Alice. It shouldn't have been tense at 40 minutes with how much of a lead Kingzone have, but it is tense. They start the Baron. Weaver's Wall to interrupt. They also have the Secure of the Rend.
Well, Spirit's actually going to get over the Weaver's Wall as well as True Shot Barrage flies forward, and the Rend is going to be there, like you say. And Afreeca not going to make the 50-50 play. Spirit decides not to, didn't have the flash.
So it's a 50-50 to steal the Baron and probably either just outright lose if you don't, and possibly lose if 2 people die. So they pulled away from it. There's no way to get 5 people into the pit. It would have just been 2 against the world, so no need to look for a smite there. But the problem is that the other objective that spawned is also of just as high value to Kingzone as the Baron.
But if Afreeca Freecs can keep Kingzone interested in the Elder Drake, then this Baron buff is going to go completely wasted as far as pushing down these inhibitor turrets is concerned. Might get ourselves to 4th Baron of this game, if that is the case.
The junglers close to level 18, level 17 on both. We're seeing Kingzone start, and Afreeca just give it up. They understand there's no way for them to contest this. Seeing there's going to be not even True Shot Barrage available. Kingzone are now unspeakably powerful. We're talking about 24% AD and AP and a Baron buff for the same exact duration, amusingly 1 second between the 2 buffs. You just roll up with this comp, and it takes a lot of effort to lose a team fight with how much they've got.
Yeah, it's called put your face in it and you'll probably win. Sort of how that one works. But Kiin has at least been able to push out this top wave. Might take some time to get the minion waves in order here for Kingzone. 10,000 gold in the lead.
TusiN accidentally pressed his
Lock out the Iron Solari.
Lock out the Iron Solari button.
Okay.
Possible that he thought that he was face checking, but I don't think so. Just a mistake.
TusiN been making a few mistakes so far this series.
Khan has started varying up his build. He has Phantom Dancer now to the boots.
Yep. Bit of that extra movement speed. Some control here in the side lane as well as he moves towards what could be the inhibitor turret if he's left alone.
Expect the Ghost Blade to be sold for an Infinity Edge pretty soon when he has the gold for that. It's the most likely change because you want to keep Youmu's for a bit of movement speed.
Yeah, Kiin also sells his Phantom Dancer and grabs a Thornmail. He really doesn't want to get hit by this physical damage. All of a sudden, there's armor in this team.
All right, KingZone, you gave your fans a bit of a heart palpitation. Now turning on to the base. Base should be broken here, 43 minutes.
Yeah, not a whole lot the Afreeca Freecs can do, and that's actually going to be Cuz going in. Seismic shove, and Kuro does get his Zhonya's off, but is he actually going to be able to get anything done? Absolutely not. His Spirit, he's going to get slaughtered. The heal not enough from Kramer, and he's just trying to pull this one back as far as he can go. Inhibitor actually fell down, I think, just incidentally, and KingZone will terrorize the Nexus turrets and bring us to a game number 3. It looked scary in game 1 where KingZone threw away the huge lead, but this time it's been dominance. One trip up, but that wasn't going to be enough to seal the deal, and we're going to the last game of the night here, Papa Smithy. KingZone DragonX answering back.
Yeah, KingZone giving opportunities to the enemy team 2 games in a row. Game 1, the comp allowed Afreeca Freecs to come back into it. Game 2, they had an excellent composition for closing out games. They make one mistake, they return to normalcy, and they close the game largely on pace. So I wonder what that means for game 3 here. Very low value out of the Galio in game 2. Will it be left open for BDD to have a visit to that pick, and will he even prioritize it as a first pick? Because you don't think that Afreeca will return to it after misfiring with so much engage. They had the chance for Wombo engage, never really took it, and the game was decided around the Galio. So we're taken into a game 3 where on balance of it, I feel like KingZone has been the better performing team for 85+% of the minutes we've had on the Rift, and yet we are 1-1.
Yeah. And also we're having a move over to different sides, but guys, we are going to have a short break. When we get back, the deciding game between Afreeca Freecs and KingZone DragonX.